nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Beyond hands where nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Mary, Mary, blah, blah.
Show, show, show.
Mary, Mary, blah, blah.
Show, show, show.
Beyond hands where nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Beyond hands where nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Mary, Mary, blah, blah.
Show, show, show.
Mary, Mary, blah, blah.
Show, show, show.
Welcome.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Today, we're honored to have Charles with us, who is sharing a deeply personal journey from struggle to strength. Charles is a recovering addict who has navigated the challenging path to sobriety, offering not just a story of overcoming addiction, but also insights into personal growth, resilience, and the power of recovery. This conversation promises to be enlightening as we explore the realities of living with an addict, the steps towards recovery, and the ongoing journey of maintaining sobriety. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you, Charles.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're so
Beautiful.
welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. I'm always working and staying busy and uh well when I get home, hey man, I'm still working. People always asking and when do you ever sleep? And I was like I just stay
Never.
busy, man. Yeah, I just stay busy, man, because then that's the way I deal, man, with the boredom, depression, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
because if I end up getting bored or depressed, then like one thing can lead to the other. So yeah, I
Right.
like to stay busy, man, with my time.
All right. So I've got some questions for you regarding your journey. Okay. I know you've been 18 years uh, clean from drugs and prescription medication, and then 4 years Christmas, you'll be sober from alcohol, right?
Yeah,
So what I wanted to ask is, can you share with us what life was like before you recognized that you had a problem with addiction?
man. Oh my God. Well, I mean, nothing, man, really started out as an addiction. It was always in like when I was a kid, man. It was always like trying to be the cool person, and then I don't know. It was something to do. Well, like I said, man, out of boredom, uh, and then one thing led to another. Man, I started getting in trouble like at a really young age, and I mean, I started smoking like cigarettes and at 6, and I remember my babysitter, and it wasn't like too long ago. She was like, "I remember babysitting you, man, smoking cigarettes at 7 or no 6." And I told her, man, that I thought I started smoking at 7, man, but she's the one that reminded me 6 years old. And then, man, since I did that, and some older friends, and they introduced me, man, to some weed.
Mhm.
And then they asked me, man, you ever smoked weed before? And I was like, I already smoked cigarettes, and so I just told them, yeah, I smoke weed, trying to be all cool, all
Yeah,
that.
I get it.
And then, yeah, and then I don't know, man. So I smoked, and man, first time was at a powwow, man. And I just had, man, I was like laughing at everything, and like I don't know. After that, man, came drinking. I think this was like about no, it was like 10 years old when I started smoking weed, and then I think it was like 12 when I started drinking,
Mhm.
and that was another thing, man. Just trying to be cool, trying to be one of the big kids, this and that. So I started drinking, man, that peppermint schnapps, and because I knew, man, like it was kind of like scope. it was kind of like some mouthwash, and
It was.
yeah. So I tried to come home and try to play it off, and to my mom, but she'd always catch me, and she'd always tell me to stay at my friend's house, and this ain't no pass out house, this and that, and then I don't know, man. My very first party though, I was
Mhm.
like 13 years old, and that's when it wasn't, man, just the big kids, and it was like the adults and all that stuff, and then they saw me, and they like, here I live on the res, and everybody thought that was kind of cool, man. That, oh, you got this 13-year-old man drinking, man. I look back at that now, man. I was like, I'm thinking, man, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah, with
But
all the adults there and stuff.
yeah, all the adults, and they were passing me bottles, and they were like, try this one. And I was like, man, I drink peppermint schnapps. And
I remember
I,
that
yeah,
peppermint schnapps. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
I
that.
drank I drank a whole bottle of peppermint schnapps, and my brother, man, he wouldn't let me pass it to nobody. He said, man, if you're gonna drink that whole bottle by yourself. And I'm like, all right, I got it, man. Drinking all by myself, and then another friend came in and he had peach schnapps. And so I started drinking on that one, smoked a cigarette. I don't remember nothing after that.
Wow.
Man, I woke up, man, my hair was all sticky, my clothes was all hard and sticky, and I didn't know I threw up on myself.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, I got past that part, and then I don't know, man. Things then started getting pretty bad, man. Like around, well, I started drinking at 13, man, but started things then started getting pretty bad at the age at the end of 14. Man, I'm already slamming. Man, I was like, coming to think of it, man, like at age 14, man, was probably the year that I drank the most. And then it's crazy to think that, man, such a young age, and but man, our livers, and at that age, and they're not as destroyed as much, and as
Hmm.
like when you get older and all that stuff, and so I can kind of understand that part. But man, I drank 40s and 40s and of OE. I moved up, man, to tequila,
Mm.
Jose. Somebody introduced me, man, to Rumplemans. Uh, yeah, I ended up getting in trouble, man, like really bad, man. I ended up like stabbing somebody around that age. I had to go to prison, a juvenile prison at a really young age. I never really thought of it, man, as my addiction, man, put me in these places, and every time that I got locked up, uh, I got out, and I stayed clean. I was like, man, I'm done drinking. I'm done smoking weed. I'm done smoking cigarettes. It's like I didn't really do nothing. I got out though. I got out of Lincoln Hills, and it's a juvenile prison.
Mm.
Um, I would still be around drinking and all that stuff, and I'd go to a really big party, man, what they call a 49.
Hmm.
So it's like right after the powwows, and everybody's heard about like Native Americans and their drinking and all this and that. And so when you take like a majority, man, of these people, man, that were at the powwow, and now you put them in one spot, and we're all just drinking. I wasn't drinking, uh, but I was there. So I went to go see some family and all that stuff, man. But there was a girl, man, that I really like had an eye on. I was like, damn, man, she's beautiful, and just her regalia, everything, man, just caught my eye. And so I started talking to her, man, and saying, well, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm driving tonight. And so I was like, you ain't drinking? You got all of this drinking around here, man. You ain't drinking?" She's like, "Mm-mm. Yeah, nothing." She's like, why aren't you drinking? I was like, "No, I don't drink. I don't do nothing. I'm just here to visit some family." So, anyways, I ended up getting her number, man. We started connecting a little bit more. Uh, she ended up she ended up becoming my girlfriend. Uh, but I did come back to the same area though. You gotta remember that when I got out of Lincoln Hills, the juvenile prison, I'm
Mhm.
back in the same neighborhood, back with the same friends, and came with time that I started getting back into drinking. Now me and my girlfriend, man, we started drinking. Um, yeah, we started drinking. I started smoking weed again. Started getting back into the gang lifestyle,
Mhm.
all that stuff. And uh, so that was like around, so I got out like around 15, 16. So all the way up to 18, me and her were together. Uh, so it was like right before my 18th birthday. And right before my 18th birthday, and we were doing all kinds of drinking, but there was all kinds of violence,
Yeah.
gang violence in my neighborhood. And so around that time, man, it's like all that gang stuff and was like pretty serious back then. I mean, there was people getting killed and right behind my house. I was getting the blame for it, man, because I used to beef with them. And but let's say I never really, I wasn't involved in it, man. But people, man, were saying, man, they were like they're pointing fingers on that stuff. And I mean, a lot of
Mhm.
people, man, when death happens and people want to blame somebody right away, and all of a sudden, man, I got like fingers pointing at me. So, oh, yeah, a lot of violence, a lot of drinking. I had to go to jail, man, one time, man. I got bailed out, man, by my guys. Uh, so my girlfriend, man, came to pick me up, man, but she told me, man, that one of my higher up guys, and said he wanted to see me. Said, man, just he told me, man, stay out of trouble, man. We can't bail you out all the time, man,
Mhm.
because you're messing up, but stay out of trouble. So I was like, so we just drank, smoked. Uh, so well, we pulled up, man, to the liquor store. Oh, we were drinking and drinking and drinking, man. When I got bailed out, all of a sudden, man, we get to the liquor store, and my guy, man, he went in there and he was like, "What do you want, brother?" And I was like, "Get me a bottle of Crown Royal, get me a case of 40s, and get me a case of Budweiser and a pack of Marlboro Red 100s cigarettes." He came out, man, with all of it.
Now, was that all for you? Were you wanting that all for yourself?
Uh, like around that time when I got bailed out and all that stuff, and um, people knew, man, that I put in a lot of work and towards for the gang.
Mhm.
This, and so now I'm like, once I got bailed out and all that stuff, and I kind of got like the approval, man. Like now I'm being called brother, man, this and that, and so they're just kind of looking out for me. They was like, what do you want?" And I tell them what I want, and they get it for me. Uh, 'Cause they all stayed making money. I was more the person and that I was more of the person and that made sure they made money. So nobody steps on their toes. Nobody comes in the neighborhood and
Mhm.
sells their stuff. in my neighborhood, man, going through without going through me.
Got it. There's a lot of similarities. I can relate. My mom was a smoker, a real heavy smoker. As a matter of fact, she's still a heavy smoker. And I remember when I was about 7 years old, I started smoking, and she caught me one day. I was testing it out. I see her do it, right? So I was testing it out. And I remember to this day, we lived behind this. Well, we had a playground in our little complex, and it was just a very small, probably like 4 units, 4 to 6 units. And she caught me out there, and I remember her taking out a whole pack of Cool's menthol and says, if you're going to smoke, you're smoking the whole pack. And I smoked that whole pack, and I was so sick. I was sick. But I don't know. That was just her way of being like, you're going to smoke. Here, try the whole pack. And maybe her thinking that was going to make me quit, right? But it was always
That's
something that I always did. And then, I can relate to the parties too at a young age, because that's kind of what I grew up in. And I would see, all kinds of stuff, alcohol, drugs. And I remember somebody who knew her. And my mom worked like two jobs. So I was always by myself. And I remember somebody that she knew was smoking weed outside in the back. And he was a guy, he was a man, he was an older man, my mom's age. And I'm like 10 years old. And he's giving me to try it. And yeah, with the thought of, yeah, I want to fit in somewhere too. I want to be cool. Sure.
mm,
And I smoked. That was my first time smoking weed. And there's a lot of stuff that happened. And then later on, yeah, drugs. So I can definitely relate to wanting to fit in and be the cool kid. And I was always bullied in school. And you know I didn't want to be bullied anymore. I was like, how do I fit in? You just do what they do to fit in. But so I can relate to some of that what you're talking about there. But I'll let you go on. I do have another question. So you did this, all this drinking and doing all this stuff, and what
early age.
at an early age, yeah. What was the moment or series of events that made you realize that you needed help?
Man, I've been in prison so many times. I've been in there 6 times in adult state prison. I did 14 years, and every single time that I got out, I tried to change something. And so, like I got out. Let's say I'm done with this,
Mm,
but I'm gonna do it once a month. And then, man, that always turned into
yeah.
something a little bit more. It'd be once a week, or once every other week, and then once a week, and then twice a week. And it's not always, it wasn't always drinking or drug use or drug selling, because one of my addictions and turned into making money, and that was the fast way, by selling. I um I was like kind of addicted into fighting. Like my first time in the joint, 19 years old. So I went there, and an older person, and he told me, man, he was like, don't let anybody, man, don't let anybody treat you, man, like a punk, man. You'll be treated like a punk, man, this whole prison bit. So I was like, ain't none of that in my blood, man, at all.
Yeah.
I might be young and all that stuff, man, but no, I mean, even though, man, that I was scared, man, going to an adult prison for my first time, hearing the stories,
Hmm.
people getting raped, people getting beaten, stabbed, this and that. Um, So yeah, man. I mean, your first time in an adult joint, man, like that, man. But it's like I couldn't go out like that. Um. Anyways, yeah, they got into some trouble in there. Um. And like right away, man, we started like fighting. Like I was only in a joint for 2 weeks. Somebody came up to me, man. I was like, yo, put it on him. I don't care, man. I put it on him, man. Like right in public, right in the chow hall.
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't care who saw. Everybody's gonna see, man, that I whooped this dude. And I ain't nobody to mess with. And some people might think, oh, he did that, man, in front of the police, and so they can pull me off him. And like, yo, I didn't care. In the
Yeah.
joint, man, you got cameras everywhere.
Yeah. It's a whole different world there. It's
Yeah,
not like
so
out in the streets. So it's different.
yeah, so I got out, and I had like that ego, and I was like, yeah, yeah, I survived the joint too, and that made me just more. It gave me a bigger ego, and I'm like not all that tall, man. I'm 5'7". So it's like growing up, man. When I was a kid, man, I was smaller. I was
Hmm.
just a itty bitty man, little kid. So yeah, man. I can't say, man, that I got bullied too much, but I know I wasn't gonna let myself get bullied, man, because of my smaller smaller self.
Yeah.
Anyways, so when you mix the drinking with fighting now, that would that's what got me in the joint a lot. So back and forth, back and forth. One time, man, I was selling drugs, and um they didn't get me with the charges, man, but probation got me, for being around the drugs, because they couldn't prove that the drugs were mine. But with probation up here in Wisconsin, and it was like, oh, you're around it, you ain't supposed to be around it, you're going back to the joint.
Yeah.
So every time, man, that I'm in the joint, I'm trying to figure these out. And then one of the times that I was in the joint, one of my older king brothers, and he told me, brother, man, if you don't change your ways, you don't start valuing your life, you don't start valuing your freedom, you're gonna be in here for life, man, like me. And if you want to change, then you got to change everything, man. And me being a younger age in the joint and listening to an older brother, man, like that, I really didn't like, what he was telling me. 'Cause I'm thinking, you're telling me this, Sam, because your old ass, Sam, got popped off, got a life bit, man, and now you trying to come at me, man, some type of way,
Hmm.
for your mistakes. As man, I'm young. Listen, man, as time went on, I'm still back in and out of the joint. And this last time in the joint, man, I'm thinking, it's like, you know what, man? Everything, man, that brother told me, man, it was like is real.
Hmm.
And and I've been in segregation, man, for a lot of the time in prison too. I think I sat like 4 years straight one time. But you can you can take place in some of the meetings, and sometimes it'll get you out of yourself.
Hmm.
So I used to go to the NA meetings, and that one reading in the meetings, and that say, this life, and will lead you into, incarceration, um and
So
death, and whatever
yeah.
institutions. Yeah, it's gonna lead me into these three places. So it's like I've been to two of them. I've been in institutions. I've been in incarceration.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know how many times then I've escaped death. Uh, it, Death and hits real close into home, with these same addictions. Like I said, man, even some of my addictions and was fighting, making that fast money, and it'll all eventually catch up to me. And so it was that last time in prison. I was like, you know what it is, and it's drinking. I have quit drugs in 2006, October 1st, 2006, all drugs, because then they still used to get me in trouble with my UAs
Hmm.
from probation, and weed will stay in your system like for a month. So you try to dilute that, it comes back diluted. They make you sit there. They make you sit there and sit there until you got to go again.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I'm gone. I'm gone, man. I took
So,
well,
I didn't mean to interrupt. Is it safe to say that it was at that time, that last time when that guy told you that you realized you needed to change?
no, it took more times in prison than to actually catch back up, man, to what he told me
Hmm.
one of the prison bits. Because that last prison bit is when I remembered. I was like, damn, that's what I got to do. That's what I got to do. If I'm going to change, I got to change everything. No more, no more selling drugs. No more drinking. No more doing drugs. No more fighting. Because I've been in prison, man, for sticking up, man, for some of my family members too.
Hmm.
I mean, some people, man, were about to kill some of my family members. I'd step in. No,
Yeah.
no charges, man, would come of it, man. But my PO sees me stitched up in my neck and sees me stitched up all over the place, and then they start putting the pieces together. Right.
Hmm.
Well, we can't charge you, man, but we know that you've been in a fight. You're
Yeah.
going to you're going back. Another one, man. Bartender, man, called my sister a c word, so I went there and put the hands on him, and I went to prison, man, for that. There ain't no one there for me either.
Right.
No one was there for me, man, when I went to the joint. So I don't want to go back to that. All the times, man, that I've been in the joint, like it's time to make a change, man. So I just didn't really know how either. So I might have it in my head, but it was on Christmas Eve. It was on Christmas Eve, year 2020. That's when I decided to drink some tequila. I even drank with my kids just because I wanted to. They were there with their friends, and that's what them and their friends wanted to do was drink. So I was like, I'm with my friends and in another part of the building, but we all ended up coming together. Man, we all ended up having drinks together. But come to find out, man, my kids are fighting, man. They start, man. So something happened. I ended up getting pissed off, getting kicked out of the place and where I was staying, and I decided to take a walk. I was like, man, f you guys. I'm gonna go walk, man. I'm out of here. I don't care where I
Hmm.
go. But you gotta remember, man, it's Christmas Eve. I'm thinking, man, that I can catch a ride, like from a passing car or something. No way, man, was there any cars on that road. This is up on up in the North Woods and Wisconsin here. Ain't nobody up there. Ain't no the big towns.
Wow. I've been there
So
before to Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's cold in there right now. It's really cold, man. There's all kinds of snow there right now. Anyways, and I got really cold and I was about to die. I know it. I hit up one of my friends and he came and picked me up. And he came like about 34 miles, I believe, just to come and pick me up that night, the middle of the night. But when he got to me, man, it's like my phone wasn't even registering my finger anymore because it was so cold.
Oh.
And it's like I couldn't get my phone to work. My legs were really stinging, man. They really stung, man, like in my inner thighs right there.
Mhm.
And I knew I was like, keep walking, because if I stop, I'm gonna end up dying. My guy, man, he ended up getting me. And when I finally got in his car, my phone died. So, and I woke up. I woke up at his place. I looked around and I didn't really know where I was, and until I looked at like one of the pictures on the wall, and I was like, all right, I know where I'm at. He had my phone plugged in for me, so I turned on my phone. And I did make a post on Facebook, man. I was like, man, if nobody comes and picks me up, man, I'm gonna die.
Oh.
And then so when I turned on my phone, man, I'm hearing bing, 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 and I was like, all kinds of messages were coming in. I was like,
Mhm.
oh my god, all right, I'm not ready for this. Shut my phone back off, and I slept that whole day on Christmas. Um, so finally get up, finally look at my phone. It's Christmas, like probably like 6 in the evening. Uh, that's when I told myself, man, I'm done drinking for a long time. I didn't say I was done drinking.
Mhm.
Um, I did look at my messages, and there was a whole bunch of people that cared for me, worried about me. Uh, but yeah, I drank so much, and that I was like, I'm done for a long time. But it was only that New Year's Eve came, and then I drove for some people. Um, I was actually staying in a motel now, but I was really bored. I was like, man, if anybody needs a designated driver, man, I'm available. And so I designated drove van that night, and everybody got home safe, legal trouble free. It felt good. The next day, New Year's Day, um, New Year's Day, and my attorney, she hit me up, and she's not like really my attorney, man, but she's been my attorney for a lot of cases, and we talked to each other, man. But she hit me up and she asked me if I wanted to run her free store. Uh, she'll give me a job. She'll pay me. Sorry. So New Year's Eve, and I drove for people. That felt good. New Year's Day, I got a job. It's a good start. A good start to the new year. It's
Yeah.
like, it's the time for a New Year's resolution. I'm done drinking. I'm fucking done. That was when I decided I'm done. Ever since then, man, with the with my sobriety, man, I just took off with it. I did want to get back. I did want to go back and tell you about that time
Mhm.
with my girlfriend and my friend bailing me out and buying me all the drinks and all that stuff. And I had one of my best homegirls with me too in the car. Uh, So and he brought out all of these drinks and stuff. And I remember him asking me, he was like, "What time is it, brother?" And I had a fossil watch on, man, that can tell you like like the date and all that stuff. And I was like,
Mm.
holy fuck, guys. Yo, it's my 18th birthday. And then my guys and my guy, my girlfriend, and my homegirl, and they all cheers, man, with me. Cheers, babe. Cheers, brother. Cheers. So I took a drink, and then after that drink, man, I don't remember. I don't remember nothing.
You blacked
I,
out?
um, yeah, I was. I don't remember anything after that drink. But here I am in the woods in the car. It's upside down. I didn't
Whoa.
know. I didn't know it was upside down. I thought it was upright. I look. I look next to me, and my guy is gone. I look behind me. I didn't see my girlfriend. I didn't see my friend either. And all I can think, man, is damn, they ditched me. And I thought I got out of the car like through the door. I was told, man, that the car was on its hood. I was told, man, that none of the doors worked. You couldn't have gotten out of them. And I walked to the road, and instead of walking, man, like a half a mile this way, I ended up going this way, which was 6 miles of nothing, just one dead road.
Mm.
Um, but I didn't get that far. All I did is really get to the road and then turn this way, and then, I passed out on the road until somebody got me.
Yeah.
I'm in and out of it, in and out of it though, man. Like, all I want to do is go to sleep, and I still don't know that I was in a car accident. I didn't know. And, uh, I went home. The cop brought me home, and then my mom, she was sitting in front of the door, and she's just looking all like, "Where did you come from?" And I don't know what I told her, but this is what my mom told me. My mom told me I said that I came from the party car. Uh, I remember just going right back to my room. I took my clothes off, put my sweats on. Um, I wanted to go to bed. That's all I really want to do is just go to bed. My mom came back and she said, "Hey, that cop is back here. He said you were in a car accident." And I was? Dang, well, let's go out there, go check it out. As soon as I got outside, man, he cuffed me up, put me put me in the back of the squad car, took me to the scene of the accident. I'm looking on one side of the road, and I was like, I don't see no car accident. I don't see nothing. Here, it's on the other side. And at this time, I see people's mouths moving.
Mm.
Uh, like I can't hear anything anymore. It's like I'm going partially deaf. But it's like I kept on passing out in the back of the squad car, just in and out, in and out. They brought me to the jail, and then they told me, or they put me in a drunk tank. Uh, I seen the jailer that was there. Again, her mouth was moving, but I couldn't understand anything. Now, I don't know what she said at that time, but I remember what she told me after like a while.
Mm-hmm.
She told me, man, she was like, "You remember I saved your life?" Mm, mm. Yeah, that day that you got in that car accident and you came in here and your eyes were bloodshot. You weren't hearing me. And then she said that there was like blood like coming out of my ears or my ear. That probably would explain that why I wasn't really hearing anything.
Yeah.
But I got to the hospital and I'm thinking then that I am being pushed in by a wheelchair. But I guess then I was brought in on a stretcher, and I wasn't even on a stretcher, man, like this. That they had the stretcher up. I don't know why they had me like that, but I guess then it was because of blood flow, so it don't go to my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, man, them saying some, or I remember seeing my girlfriend's mom there, and she was over my girlfriend, and all I can think, man, is that, man, I'm glad she's here. I'm glad she's here, at least being taken care of. I couldn't hear nothing. I guess, and that I guess my girlfriend's mom was yelling at me, but I don't, but I don't really know nothing. I still can't tell you, man, if it was a helicopter or the ambulance and that took me, but not. I can hear something, and they said, whatever you do, don't go to sleep. Man, I've been trying to go to sleep, man, this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I fell asleep, but I woke up. I woke up a few days later, and I'm in the hospital. But I woke up a few days later, and I felt my face, and I was like, "What? I thought I shaved yesterday." My hair was kind of like prickly. Um, yeah. So I'm in the ER. Um, when they finally put me in my room, and finally take the all the stuff off me, except for the one
Mm-hmm.
on my arm. All I can think about, man, was my girlfriend. And I was like, I really wanted to call her, and even though, man, that I couldn't really remember a lot of stuff, and I couldn't remember a lot. That um, I remember getting on the phone and I was calling her house. I don't even know how the heck, man, I knew her phone number after a bunch of memory loss, man, like that.
Mm-hmm.
But all I got was ring and ring and ring. So I'm thinking, man, that she's at school. Like she must be at school. Uh, I asked the nurse. I was like, "Do you have a Lindsay Bodine over here at all in the ER?" They're like, "No, we haven't had that name here come through at all." And and they were like, "How old is she?" And I was like, "She's 16." And that would probably explain it. She would be on the juvenile side.
Mm-hmm.
So another nurse came in, and I was like, "Are you from the juvenile side over there?" She goes, "I just came from there. Do you have a Lindsay Bodine over there?" All right, no, nobody by that name came through there. So I was like, "Yeah, she must be at school." Yeah. Another nurse came in and she brought in and like some like flowers and some blooms and all that stuff. And get well. And then she was like, "Sorry about your girlfriend." Like I looked at her, man, real quick, and I was, wait a minute. What do you mean, man? What do you mean? Why are you're sorry about my girlfriend? And she took off right away. I was like, hey, wait. She took off. And it's like just started sinking in my head, man. And it was like, and I looked at my mom and I was like, Mom, where's Lindsay? And she started crying, my mom. She's like, son, they just buried her today. I was like, where's Sarah? Like, they just buried her too. I was like, where's Pedro? He's in the next room over. So a lot of I realized that what happened on my 18th birthday. I'm still at this TBI. No one was supposed to tell me because they knew, man, that if I started crying, man, that this is gonna put me back in coma. That's what it did. It put me right back in my coma. I wake up this time and I have all my friends and I had a whole bunch of people surrounding on my bedside. I didn't know any of them. I didn't know my own cousins. One of my cousins they came to give me a kiss. And, like, who are you? So I was brain dead. Things hadn't started coming back together, piece by piece. I didn't know how to tie my shoe. My cousin had to tie my shoe. So that's why I say, man, I was like, I didn't how the heck did I even know her number? The only person I knew in that room was my mom. So 18 years old. After 18 years old, I didn't care about life. I wish that it was me. There were so many attempts at suicide. I wouldn't even really call them attempts, but I got into drugs. And I was thinking, like, let's push this as far as I can go until it finally takes me. I started drinking more, doing drugs. I started getting into the gangs a little bit more. And, you know, a lot of people seen it. A lot of the ones that knew me, they seemed to change. Uh, I got pistols now. People in like I show up at a party. I remember I showed up at a party one time, and the whole party dipped out. They jumped
Wow.
out. They jumped out of windows. They jumped out of the or they ran out the back door. And I was like, "Where'd your party go?" And I said, "Well, fuck, man, let's drink, let's party." And they said, "Hold up, this BYOB." I said, man, I got beer in the truck. All right then. So we started drinking there, and this is in an opposition party. This is a party, man, where this is the gold side, man. That's the blue side. All of a sudden, man, I was going in because I didn't care. Man, I had all kinds of different kinds of crazy guns. Um, yeah. So a lot of the crazy stuff happened after that. I was really promiscuous too, man. I was just with one girl to the other, to the next. I probably had about 5, 6 of them at once, thinking that they were number one. that was had to maneuver that one around a lot, but I eventually got caught up. One of the girls and said that she was pregnant with my kid. I didn't believe her, but um, if out of any one of those girls, and I was trying to be with this one girl for real, because I always called her my main squeeze.
Mhm.
All the other ones and were just side chicks, and all of a sudden this side chick ended up telling me that she was pregnant. I was like, I really wanted her to be main squeeze in at 1.2, man, but she kept on doing some shady shit, man. But now all of a sudden she says she's gonna have my kid, and it kind of, man, really struck me, man. After that, I was thinking, man, I got something to live for now, and well, I don't want to leave my kid, man, like that. I don't want to not be in my kid's life. So I really had to think about, like, how am I gonna do this when I didn't know how.
Right.
All I know is what changed in my heart that I got a kid now. Oh, another long story, man, but I'm gonna try to keep that one, man, as brief as I can. The, so one of the girls and one of the side chicks and the other side chicks, a separate man from the baby mom, they found out about each other. And then I told them, and I was like, yo, I ain't messing, man, with any one of you girls. I got a baby mama now. And that's her. I ain't gonna say her name.
Don't call her out that way.
No, it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get real
Oh,
bad. So, anyways, and these girls were fighting over me, but now they're coming at me like, "What? You're gonna have a baby with that bitch?" But one of them, man, she said that, and she was like, "You know what? I was gonna have your kid, but I killed it because you're going to prison, and I don't want, man, our kid to not know who you are because you're sitting in prison. But since that I killed my baby, I'm gonna kill that baby."
oh
And
man.
yo, so I was drunk, and now remember, this in my heart is my reason for living. Now all of a sudden, man, she said something, man, like she was wanting to kill my baby. So I had a knife, and like the movie Scream, I ended up cutting that girl right across her face, and I was like, "Who you gonna kill? You gonna kill my baby?" And I was like, "Man, I'll kill you." And when I did that though, man, it was in the dark, and I really didn't feel it at all. That thing was so sharp, but I saw something coming down her face, but I really thought it was tears because of the glare.
Yeah.
Here it was blood though. All right, now I'm in jail. Um, now I'm in jail, but or we'll take it back just a little bit, man. Right before that party, my baby mama, man, said that we gotta get tested, and she said that she had gonorrhea, and so I was like, "Whoa, okay, I'll get tested." So I'm looking at the symptoms, and I'm like, yo, doc, man, this don't seem like me, but I'm here. Let's get tested because they said that. Well, we gotta get to the bottom of this because if we don't, the health department is gonna get involved, and then people are gonna get in trouble.
Hmm.
All right, well, let's do the test. So as I'm waiting for the test, and you see, my baby mom, and she didn't want to mess with me at all. The other girls, and I didn't want to mess with them because then I'm waiting for a test and to come back. But I ended up going out. This happened. Now I'm in jail because I cut some girl's face for threatening to kill my baby. Now when I got my test back, I had to write to the jail. I had to write to the hospital. The hospital sent my results to the jail. I didn't even have gonorrhea. But I remember what that doctor told me too, man. He said that if I didn't have it, a third person was involved. So it's now that I don't have it, man, I am right back to where I was, not
Mhm.
caring about life. I'm on my way to prison now. Now this is my first time in prison. Remember, man, when I got there, what people told me, man, don't be treating me like no punk. And
Right.
I was only there for 2 weeks. Remember, I'm back to not caring. So that's the reason why I took off, man, so quick on that guy. I even beat him up so bad that he had to go to an outside prison, but because of outside prison, I mean, but since he had to go to the outside the prison to the hospital, I meant
Mhm.
outside charges came in. So I got charged. I'm sitting in the hole for a year, and I got charges.
Yeah.
Uh, while I'm in the hole, though, it's like I get these pills and Seroquel. Those are really messed up, man. But I
Mhm.
always cheat. I always cheat them, and like I saved up like what was it? 1,000. I think it was 1,200 milligrams Seroquel, and I popped them all, thinking that it would kill me. All I did, man, was wake up. I was cross-eyed that night, man. My light was burnt out, and I was like I couldn't see. I remember trying to piss in the toilet, and I didn't hear no water. so so like, trying to find the water, I pissed all
Yeah.
over the floor. When I finally looked out the window of my cell, I was like, that's when I realized, like, holy man, I'm cross-eyed. Uh, anyways, I was pissed. I was pissed off, and that I woke up because I was supposed to be dead. But I mean, even though that I got tested on the outs, man, you go to prison, man, you get tested for everything.
Yeah, they test you.
Yeah, so I got tested on the outs, I got tested in the prison, and all of a sudden, I got to get tested again from the health department. I've been tested 3 times, but now I got a paternity test too. I got to do. And I
Mhm.
don't think it's mine, but it'll get me out of the cell for a little bit. So ended up doing that. While I wait, man, I'm gonna save up more of my Seroquel, and I'll wait until that test comes back and says that that kid is not mine. So I saved up. I think it was like 3,000 something. I can't remember, man. I know it was 3,000, but it was 3,000 something milligrams of Seroquel. And it came back, man. That paternity test and that kid was mine. Man, I was jumping around my cell. I was happy. Uh, I was happy. I mean, it only meant, man, that I got her pregnant. Then she cheated on me, got gonorrhea. That's the only way, man, that would have played out. But oh, but now I got something to live for again.
Mhm.
But now I just caused a whole bunch of shit. And man, I got another charge. Uh, but just think, man, what was in my head, man. As I was in prison in the hole, thinking the whole time before I got my paternity test back, thinking, did I slice this other girl's face for my kid or someone else's?
Mhm.
Like, here I am. Well, I don't care. I'm gonna kill myself anyways. Once but once it came back, man, all of those pills though, man, yo, I dumped them down the drain. I mean, not the drain, man. I flushed them. I got something to live for, man. So I got something to live for, but I still didn't really know how to change, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, or I get out of prison, man. I'm thinking, man, well, I gotta provide now, and the only thing, man, I can think of, man, was selling drugs. And yeah, I was able to get a few things here and there. Give my baby mom, man, some money for her gas tank. Um, I had to go back, man, to jail though, man, for that charge that I caught in prison. Remember, so I had to turn myself in. And I didn't really want to be with her, but like, how am I gonna get closer to my son
Mm-hmm.
before I have to turn myself in? And the like the solution I came up with was get back with the baby mama, even after that gonorrhea stuff. Anyways, I was like, I can forgive her. You know, maybe she changed. I ended up having another kid with her. Popping one in her, then I had to go sit my 9 months. And when I got out, yo, I had a kid. I had another one.
Well,
I got out, man. My auntie and my mom came to pick me up with both of my kids. I opened up that van door, and I seen the young one. I saw, but from what I remember, that looked like the older one. Then the older one is in the back. He said, "Hi, Dad." What? What the heck? This is the.
welcome home, Dad. Times two.
Yeah, I picked up my youngest boy, little Charles, and right away, and he cried, and as soon as I picked him up, the first time I seen, or when I got out of adult prison,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally seen my oldest boy, he was
Yeah.
just like the little one then.
Wow.
But my mom held him up to me, man. He was like kind of looking at me, but and I held my arms out like that. He came right to me. He was cool. He even tried feeding me his Pop Tarts and stuff on the way home. But seeing my youngest boy for the first time, and no, he was scared.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, I really had to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
After that, man, my my s- my son, he was my oldest boy. He was 1 years old. Now this is before I had to turn myself in. He was like one, and I had to turn myself in. I think it was October 3rd, 2006. So, man, I smoked weed for my last time October 1st, 2006. That's when I said, I'm done with drugs. I'm done with everything. I'm done with abusing prescription medications, any of that shit that can lead to my UA putting me back in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit drugs that day, October 1st, 2006. And then I
So
didn't have 1 month up.
so did you go to you just quit like that? Did you go to rehab or like how did you choose your recovery method? Like how did you choose like did you go to NA therapy? Did you do any of that?
Uh, I was always told that I had to do NA, that I had to do AODA, AA, all that type of counseling stuff. But I've gone because I had to. But sobriety, man, ain't for people that need it. Sobriety is for people that want it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just kind
Good
of
point.
remember.
Go ahead.
So I was just kind of remembering all the times that I was told I had to go to. I just remember the things and that kind of stuck to me, like some of the
Mhm.
readings and stuff. Um, so yeah, I started hosting meetings myself. I started hosting meetings. Um, I don't know. It helped me, helped the others. When I sobered up, and I needed
Mhm.
something to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd probably mess myself up.
So
But
let me share this with you. Um, I asked because recovery, it doesn't look the same for me and you. We're all different, right?
mhm,
And I remember a time when I had to go. I was, believe I was 17-ish when I was, no, 16, 17, because I had to sign myself in. Me being so fucked up on drugs, didn't realize that I had to go to the ER one day. And just I'll make it brief, but I went to the ER one day because I was shooting up drugs, you know, and my arm was getting infected. Um, I swore it was the next day, but apparently I'd been in a coma for a week. So discharging, thinking I'm going home, I'm signing, and I signed myself into a psych ward, a psych center, and I spend time there. Well, I had to go to meetings being at the psychiatric center. They would take you out and you'd have to go to all these meetings. And I'm thinking, okay, this is what, like what you say, this is something what we have to do. And I feel like it's important for the listeners and viewers to know that an addict isn't going to change unless an addict really wants to change. There's nothing you can say or do that's going to make us change. Fuck all that. We don't care about your feelings. We don't care about any of that shit. It's only going to happen when we want it to happen. So, me thinking I'm going to come out, and I got out and thinking, and the other important thing that I want people to realize is that you have to have people who are really for you, there for you. Not people that verbally are going to say it, but people who will show through action. Don't tell me you're going to be by my side and I got you and support me, but then you turn around and be like, why you got to go to NA? How come you don't spend time at home with your son? Like, this is what I heard from my own mother, you know, and I was really, when I got out, I was really trying so hard to not go back to sticking needles in my arm, to not smoking crack, to not doing any of that. And I was clean for a bit when I got out, and I was going to the NA meetings, CCA meetings, and all that. And my mom would get pissed that I would go. Like, there are times when I felt like I needed to go every day, and that became a problem. And it was more like, it was a trigger. How come you're not here trying to be a good mother to your son? How come you always have to go to these meetings with all those drug addicts? Those were her words. And when she told me that, I'm like, wow, I have nobody. The one person that I thought I had isn't even for me. So for us in recovery, not only when we want it, we're gonna want it. We'll know when we want it. Okay, so we also have to. That means changing your scenery. That means cutting ties with people, even if they're family. Um, because if they're not for you, 100% for you, then you don't need that. Because the last thing that a recovering addict needs is a trigger like that. And sometimes, you have to let go. You have to know who to cut out of your circle. And it sounds kind of harsh, but it's the reality of life of a recovering addict or a drug addict. So yeah,
facts, man.
I know I went on a little rant on that, but I'm glad you pointed that out. So the program, how it works for you is how it works for you. I stopped going And I realized, I cut I had to cut people out. I had to cut people out of my life. And unfortunately that was my mom was one of them. And even to this day, I mean, I'm very cordial with my mom. People know. I have a whole history of things that I've done in my life, but I'm cordial. I'm very respectful and always be respectful. But I will say this: when people ask me, "Do you regret anything that's happened to that you've done or the decisions you made?" And I can personally, honestly say that for me, that the cards were laid out for me the way they should have been, because I wouldn't have not been the person that I am today had I not learned from those things. Yeah, to some people it's like, oh damn, you went through all this and stuff. But I feel like for me, there's always a purpose and a place and a reason for everything. uh, you went through a lot, Charles. My heart broke, especially when about your girlfriend. you know it's a hard thing to deal with, and you probably had a lot of anger because of that. You felt like that was your fault, and this is why this is how I this is just my opinion. Um, you went through everything you went through because you felt you had that guilt. You know, do you have a relationship with your child, a really good one?
Um, I talk to them every once in a great while.
Okay.
Um, we don't have a bad relationship. I mean, they're old enough and to where I don't have to go through their mother in order to talk to them. We can always message each other. We can always FaceTime each other.
Now, they know about your past and stuff?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So, people, I my children know. My children know about my past, and um I've always felt that it was important to be honest. I'm an open book. Anybody can ask me anything, and that's fine. My goal is to help people, to be there for people that don't have that support, like say that their family says I got you, but they really don't. I'm just here to change somebody's, to let them know, hey, we can recover. Recovery is possible. You have to just surround yourself with people who have the same, maybe not the same, but who are 100% positive about where they're going to be. Know for sure that I don't want to be back where I was before, because that's not where I want to be. I've been to prison. I've been uh, in institutions, and I definitely don't want death, because I feel like with this experience that you have, that I have, that we can actually be hope for somebody else that feels like they have, I mean, look at your story. That's rough. That's really hard, Charles. I'm glad that you understand now what life is truly about. I'm glad that you didn't, that's the other thing, is people don't get it, right? That, when you go through something like that, mental health plays a big part in that too. We have to take care of our mental status. There was a time when, I mean, there was plenty of times when I had failed attempts, at suicide myself. And the last one being probably 12 years ago when, I was in recovery. I wasn't doing drugs, but my father got killed. And that was the most devastating time of my life. And I thought, I want to die every day. How can I do it? But I'm too chicken to do it. So can somebody just run into me on the highway and kill me? That's what my mentality was thinking. And then 8 months later, I found out I was pregnant. And I, like you, said, oh my God, I have something to live for now. But I lost that child. And at that moment, I felt like, okay, I don't want to kill myself anymore. But how can I turn all this depression and everything, how can I turn it into something positive to help someone else? So now I live and strive to do that daily. I think you've got something that you've done such an amazing thing. 18 years is a really, it's a long time. I'm glad that you didn't, like I said, glad didn't that you didn't do what you wanted to do. Yes, you had to go through everything, but look at what you have now. You have sobriety, you have recovery. Nobody can take that away from you, Charles. And it's just really up to the person to decide what are you going to do with that further. Now, I see that you have here founder of Sober Visions Creationz. So you want to get into that and tell me what that's about and how did that come about?
Sure. Um. So when I got out of prison the last time, and then I had to. Well, I got kicked out of that one place. I had to go to live in a motel for a little bit. I started working at that free store for my attorney, and then after that, I went to a shelter. And when I went to the shelter, I was like, I'm gonna utilize all the resources that I can. What am I gonna do? I gotta um I gotta sit some time pretty soon uh for beating up that bartender for
Mhm.
calling my sister the C word.
Yeah.
So let's say, what am I gonna do? I gotta hurry up and get into something really quick, man, so I don't have to go to jail. I'm trying to get the bracelet. I ended up getting the bracelet, but um I started going to meetings, and that's how I met my friend Steve. And it was a group. It was just called the Highway K Group.
Hmm.
But everything, man, that he explained, and I was like, man, I really need to connect with this guy. So I ended up talking with him, and we formed a group. We called that Highway K Group Sober Visions. And with my friend then that picked me up on the road that one night, man, he was pretty much involved too, and we helped come up, man, with the name Sober Visions. Where you're like, all right, what what are we trying to do? Reach sobriety. What's your vision? What's your vision, man? With sobriety? What do you want to do? What should we
Hmm.
call it? That's what we call it. Sober Visions. Let's put a Z on there, man, just to make it kind of cool. So we
Right,
started.
right, right. I like that.
So we started Sober Visions, and then my sponsor Steve, he was. I talked with him, and I was like, "How about man, we start a nonprofit?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, we need a Facebook page. Well, we got the name, got the Facebook page. Well, we need the EIN now. With the EIN,
Hmm.
I really think, man, that we tried to do too much, man, with that. And all I really wanted to do, man, was drive. Uh, but we were gonna try to get a sober living house, this and that. But when we were gonna go for the 501c3 status and the tax
Hmm.
exempt, so we can solicit for big money
Yeah.
for the project, and that didn't work. But because the EIN, the services, and were registered under um, recovery services, I was able to add in a sober driver project. This is another thing that I started, is the sober driver project,
Okay.
and so I was able to add the sober driver project to the sober visions because they fall under the same category of the services of recovery. So I start putting together business plans, logos, everything. Then so yeah, it was like I had to do a lot of stuff with Google. I did a lot of stuff, with my friend Steve,
Hmm.
and he helped me get the EIN, everything. I raised some money. I proposed the idea to the community. I started a GoFundMe. I said, "This is what I'm gonna do, um, and I'll make the goal at $2,000." Once I got $1,000 and to go towards a van for the sober driver project, I was
Mhm.
gonna take people to detox treatment, AODA meetings, and drive people home from the bars, designated driving, this and that.
Yeah.
Once I made $1,000 and I was, I threw my 1,000 down. I was like, people didn't know I was gonna throw my 1,000 down, man. But you know what, man? This is my idea, and it would be kind of, I don't know, if I didn't throw into it.
Mhm.
But that's one thing, man, that one of my counselors told me, man, is that, when you get into resources, and no, none of these resources are just gonna want to hand you money. They want to see, man, what you're, if you're willing to meet them halfway. So when I saw that the community met me halfway, that's when I threw my $1,000 down, and I
Mhm.
got the ugliest van ever, and it was a light blue van, minivan, Dodge van, like the sky blue. I was like, man, I did not want to drive that thing around, but it wasn't about me.
Right.
This is for the community. So I got that van. I got the logos for it. I got the EIN. Got the full coverage insurance. Everything, and everything is legit on it. I named my first business vehicle after my girlfriend that passed away.
That's beautiful.
This is how I'm gonna give back. Because
Mhm.
once I decided, man, that I was gonna sober up, I decided it's time to give back. And it took long. It took a really, really long time. It took a whole bunch of beating myself up, and to finally get to this point. But here I am, and we and I took people to detox treatment, AODA meetings. That was priority over bringing home people home from the bars. But I did that to make sure people get home safe, legal trouble free,
Mhm.
because I don't want them to go through what I went through. Because I know I've had other people, man. I had other friends, family, man, that didn't make it home either. I
Yeah,
know how.
can I just say something on that? So, yeah, my father was killed that way. My father was actually walking home on the 4th of July. Um, and he had been drinking. My dad was an alcoholic, and he was walking home, and that's how he got killed, um, by some people who were on drugs and drinking. That they hit him, and he basically was just in a coma from the moment they brought him in for 26 days until he died from those injuries. He never woke up. But that's how my father died. And I remember when that's a great idea. I love that idea because I remember thinking that that's something what I wanted to do. But I have like ADHD because sometimes if I'm not on my meds, I'm like all over the place, scatterbrained, and I'm like trying to do this and that, and then it becomes overwhelming. So I'm like, you know what? I can't do it. I can't, for some reason, I can't bring myself to go on New Year's Day or on Christmas Day or on Thanksgiving or on the holidays when people I know are going to be drinking to go and do that. So I love that idea that that's what you're doing because people do need that, and you don't realize like my dad didn't drive. You know, I'm guessing he had a wreck when he was younger. I don't really fully know the whole story, but he never drove. He always rode a bike, and they took that day they took his bike away because he'd been drinking, so he was forced to walk home, and that's what happened. So we do need people like that, like you, what you're doing. I mean, it may seem like it's not to you. I can see it speaking from the outside. I really wish that I knew about services like that at that time, or that my father knew about those services at that time, because I feel like if there were services that's, at the bar, they would have called for somebody like you to come through to pick him up, he would have been alive. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's really important that we have that you continue that. I mean, people out here like me, we would, man, that really means so much, because it's a matter of saving somebody's life for sure. I'm glad you did that and you named your van that after your girlfriend.
Yeah, I ended up getting another vehicle, and I
A
named
bigger
that.
one,
No, it
a
wasn't.
nicer one,
It was a bit of a nicer one, and it had
not blue.
all wheel drive. It had third row seating. Um, I named that one man after my homegirl that passed away too. So now
Nice.
I got both of those vehicles. I mean, I don't have them now, but I had that for the business. So so I had sober visions. I had the sober driver project. Because I started doing stuff like that in the community. Um, because I had stuff like that in the community. I had other people come up to me, and they asked me if I wanted a job at the recovery clinic, and I would be a medical transportation driver, and that's what I would do, is drive people to detox, treatment,
Mhm.
FDA meetings. And I would do that for a job. And I asked them, man, would this interfere, man, with my business, my sober driver project business? And they said, then you can drive or for your business afterwards. As a matter of fact, man, you know what? I drive 8 hours in for the clinic, and the clinic closes. You know, it's
Mhm.
not all the time that people are gonna want to go to detox or treatment during the morning hours,
Right.
8 to 4:30.
Mm-mm.
But if people may want to go at some other time, like, because I would be taking people, man, out to, it would be like almost 3 hours away,
Mhm.
and I would be dropping them off for the clinic, for to a treatment center. All of a sudden, I get a phone call from the clinic, and they said, hey, can you take this person into this treatment center at this time, at 10 o'clock p.m.?
Mhm.
So I was like, yo, I would get off of working, and I would go right into my business. And then after I drop them off, I get back home and I check on the people at the bars, and I would go to bar time. Bar time doesn't always end at 2 o'clock, 2:30. Getting these people home, man, when they're intoxicated like that,
Yeah,
sometimes, then it takes me to like 4 in the morning
I
to get
believe
them
it.
home, all of them. And then you know what? I gotta go right back to work, and right at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I do that again. That's why I always got asked, man, when do you ever sleep?
Mhm.
And then I got invited into a prevention coalition, and here I am. Uh, I don't really have an education because I didn't go back after my car accident. I lost a lot of memory.
Mhm.
But anyways, here I am, man, in a room, man, with you got the police department, man, you got the fire department, man, you got the college here, you got the Boys and Girls Club, you got New Life here, you got uh all these entities, all these businesses, and just coming together, man, to make the community a great place.
Yeah.
And here I am, and they said, man, well, what's your name? What's your and what's your business, and what does your business do? All right, I work for the free store. this is what we do here. We give free stuff, and we give away vouchers. And if you don't find anything here, we can do that. We also have meetings here at this time. Um, Sober Visions for the Sober Driver Project. I take people to detox treatment, AODA meetings, and I was like, I just kept going, and they were like, "Damn,
That's
you
a
ever
lot.
sleep?" Yeah, they're like, "Sleep?" And yeah, I do, man. You know what, man? Some of the drugs and that I used to be on, man, kind of now that I'm not on drugs, I kind of been left with a little bit of insomnia.
Mm, yeah,
So
that's a big one.
yeah, so I I have to do something with my time. And I got a major depression disorder, and the night times can be depressing, lonely. So yeah, I stay busy, like I said, but because I didn't have that 501c3, I didn't get a grant for the sober visions. I had to do a lot of fundraising,
Hmm.
and we did, man. The sober driver project was great, man. I had people see me in the community. Well, they can, you can't miss me, man. See me in a bright blue sky van, and I have my logos on there. I have people, man, like getting real close up to their window, and they honking up there. I wasn't used to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not used to people looking at me like I'm a good person. Want to? I had people, man, buy my lunch and at restaurants. I had people
Yeah.
buy my drinks in when I'm buying an energy drink and the orange juice, uh, or just to begin my night. And they were like, "You do a lot for the community, man. I feel like this is the least I can do. Make sure you get your energy drink and you want something to eat, and I got you." Uh, People, man, they would see me in Walmart and they would hand me $100. People saw me at the casino. I was eating there, and then they'd give me $100. They're like, "This is for your service. This is for your service. This is for your service." I did a lot of raffles too, man, and those things, and all the money, man, would go towards just the gas,
Yeah.
getting getting people to detox treatment, AODA meetings, because I didn't charge anybody. I never
Hmm.
charged. The designated driving, that's where a lot of my tips would come from. A lot of people, man, would tip, man, sometimes $100. They're like, "I like what you do, man. Keep doing that for the community." And so, all right, now, how did I stay strong
Hmm.
when alcohol was my poison?
Hmm.
I'm going to the bars all the time.
Right.
I like to play pool. I like to shoot darts. I like to chat with friends. What I had to do is I had to put it in my mind is that I had to look at it as a whole different purpose why I'm here. My purpose is not to drink anymore. My purpose in here is to make sure all of you get home safe, legal trouble free. So I also wore a shirt. It was a Sober Squad shirt. It's another nonprofit up this way. Sober Squad. So I had that shirt, and I wore that on the days that I called my red flag days, and it would be a reminder to myself that I'm I'm trying to stay sober.
Hmm.
So I look at that, and well, I needed to feed the Sober Visions nonprofit. So what I did is I started an online business and the Sober Vision Creationz. So anything that's purchased and from my Sober Vision Creations, um, I dedicate that money to go towards something great. Like I have breast cancer hoodies in there. Profit sample go to uh, breast cancer research. I think I can't remember if it's Kenosha or Racine, Wisconsin. Those profits go over there. Um, I got stuff in that will go towards and sober activities that I'm doing. Like right now, man, I'm trying to raise money for sleds and some thermos for hot chocolate for
Nice.
kids, families in recovery. Because I'd rather present man a sober activity and for families uh, to keep families together. I mean, you know, man, us addicts and we go through a lot already.
Right.
Some of them have to. Some of them don't have their kids. Some of them have to go through another service and just to see their kids.
Right.
So I did sober walks. I did sober hikes every single week, and I don't get paid for none of it. I do this, man. I do this because I want to. And yeah, I did that. The sober hikes, and wow, man, yo, I go up Devil's Lake State Park, and that is a climb. But
Oh
what
man.
what we do at the top though is that we'll have a we won't like have a meeting up there, but we'll go over the just for today, and we kind of talk with each other, and we reflect on the reading or just get out what we want on our chest. But where I stay at the Devil's Lake State Park is beautiful. Plus the climb is a tough climb. But once you're on the top, it feels great. It's beautiful. You feel great. You made it up there. You got nothing but positivity on your
Hmm.
mind. And you're just thankful to be here. And I like sharing that, man, with people, man. I like people to think like I want them to see why sobriety, recovery is so important. Because man, these hikes, you can walk past all these plants every day, and people, man, they don't stop to look
They don't pay
at them.
attention.
They don't pay attention.
Yeah.
But when you're on these hikes and you take pictures of all this stuff, so you're taking pictures of all this stuff, and you can look back at that picture and think, man, that's a beautiful picture. So I try to tell people, man, I was like, you're gonna wanna take a lot of pictures, but also take the time to look at that without taking the picture. Take a mental picture.
Yeah. Be in the moment with it.
Yep. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. So yeah, I try to offer stuff like that. I don't like hosting meetings, the all the events. Like I said, man, I don't get paid for none of it. People, I still drive, and I don't have the sober driver project anymore. Some stuff has been rumored with my sober driver project and brought to my probation officer, and even though that it's false and that my probation officer, and she still took the project away from me. And I tried telling her, I was like, yo, you're not just taking it from me, you're taking it from the community.
From the community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I moved away. I'm in a whole different town, and the probation officer here was like, well, why did they do that? So I had to explain them the BS, and then they was like, there's no proof, no nothing. I don't see, man, why. And like, we can use your service here. So that's why I tried to do the road to healing
Okay.
nonprofit, but that idea got stolen. So
Man.
I'm not really
Well,
gonna, yeah, I'm not really gonna get butthurt about it, and like maybe they'll hire me.
right,
Maybe I won't have to put my money into that and worry about all that tax stuff and all that stuff later.
right, right.
As
Well,
long as as long as they get it going.
yeah. The more important thing is the helping people. So I have one last question for you. What do you wish more people understood about addiction and recovery?
Say that again?
What do you wish more people understood about addiction and recovery?
Hey, it's not always easy. Definitely wasn't for me, but I tell you, man, it's worth it. It's the best decision, man, that I have ever made. I don't have any I don't have any parents no more. I don't have my mom. I don't have my dad. I don't have no grandparents. Nothing like you said that I also had to break away from some people, some friends, some family. Uh I moved away, and with my recovery and a whole fresh start, this and that, uh, it gave me the it gave me the strength then to be thankful for some things. And I look at not having my parents and not as a weakness, and but I use that as a strength too, man. Because I always think too, like, you know what? If I were to break my sobriety because all of a sudden and I was sad over my mom or my dad or my grandparents and stuff, I know
Mhm.
they were pissed at me. And you broke your sobriety, man, because me.
Mhm.
So I keep going. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to piss off my grandma, my
Pl-
mom.
Please, please don't piss off the aunties
Yeah, don't piss them off,
and
and
mom and granny and all them. So,
yeah, it helps you. It's helped me humble myself. Um, I gotta keep a lot of quotes and in my head sometimes, and you just gotta get up and do it.
yeah,
Because nobody's really gonna see, man, what the sober life is like, man, unless you do it, and
right.
you gotta keep doing. And so yeah, it just feels better and better with time and doing a lot of the driving that I did, man, for the people that still do all the
Mhm.
drinking and all that stuff, and I can look at them and say, damn, that was me.
Yeah,
So, people always think too, man, like how can you be around drunks and when you're sober, man? I can't stand them. I say that was me at one point.
right.
Um, a lot of things will change uh in your mind with recovery. Um, I ain't gonna I ain't gonna bring no religion into this, and I really didn't get to my recovery with religion, and but um, I kind of look at everything around me and right now because of my recovery, all the good things.
Mhm.
Appreciate a lot.
Well, for one, I think I want to commend you because just hearing, I didn't experience it. Everybody has their own shoes they walk in. It's easy for us to say, well, you don't walk in my shoes, and that would be very difficult. Everybody's journey is unique to them, right? But
Yeah.
hearing just little pieces of what you were telling me, um, I, I don't know what it was like for you. I can only kind of grasp it, but you've had it was rough, and I'm glad that you're here today. I'm glad that you're doing all the things you are doing, and that your mindset has changed. You when you said about the reason now, the basically the mission is different, right? The mission is no longer to get high, to get drunk, to see who's the baddest in the gang and go back to prison. That's not the mission anymore. The mission is what you're doing is being there for others who are in that situation that need help, and you can provide help or a way out for them. Even just being there for somebody who maybe is not ready but is thinking about it and on the fence, then to hear your story and everybody else's. I mean, it's an incredible journey what you've been through. I'm so glad that you're at a point where your mind is in a more positive way and thinking, you know, on all this, what life has, what the beauty of what life has to offer, what you are really doing. I had a problem with people telling me, "Oh, you're doing so good," because like you, I felt like I'm a low life piece of shit who did all these bad things to people and did drugs and stuck needles in my arm and went to prison and even did more bad shit in there and didn't come out like I was supposed to because of the bad shit. Like, do I really deserve that? Now, today, at this point, I do feel like I'm doing something good. Acknowledge me for the good. Everybody's always acknowledged me for reminded me of how shitty and bad person I was. I'm not that person anymore. I had to go through that to be where I'm at in life now. I appreciate everybody and anybody that can share their story with me. I learn every day from people. This is the reason why I do this podcast is to have people on here. It's my thing is real people, real topics, real shit. I'm more than just that. You know what I'm saying? And so are you, and I'm so happy that we connected and that you came on here to share your story. um and I'm glad that you're able to be a beacon of light and hope for those who are still stuck and they can look to you, right? Because like, as again, men are gonna gravitate more to what a man's gone through, and a woman will gravitate more to, oh well, she did this and she's been through that and now look at where she's at. So I'm just glad that you're in this world, as doing all the amazing things that you're doing. Your children will grow up and they're gonna see that and they're gonna be like, "That's my fucking dad right there, man. He made a difference in somebody's life." You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy for that. I'm really happy for that. Any one advice to anybody out there that's watching or listening?
Yeah, I got some quotes and that I usually stick to and to help myself. And when like when it comes to like bad things and happening and bad situations and all that stuff, and I usually always tell people, man, be proactive to the situations around you. Don't be reactive. Stop.
Mm,
And man, like I said, man, that sometimes, man, you just gotta, if you want to find out, what this life is about, man, if you want to live a better life, do something different, and you got to get up there and do it. And dreams don't just come true; you make them come true. And talk is cheap. We've talked about that. Talk is cheap. Action is where it's at. Seeing is believing, and you can really, you can don't ever tell anybody, man, that you're gonna change. Show them that you're gonna change. Stuff like that. So it's all about getting up, getting out there, putting into work. Uh, they say blood, sweat, tears, and you're gonna go through a lot, and it's not It's not always a smooth road, but it's definitely worth it. And you know, I don't regret anything in my life either. As much as and I would like to take back the car accident and all that stuff, and that's the biggest thing in my life, and that I couldn't forgive myself for. And it took a long, long, long time. The creator, man, puts a lot of learning lessons in front of you. Um, no decision is a wrong decision. It's a life lesson. It's all what you it's all what you learn from it. And and don't let the small stuff and get to you. And people that get out of treatment, people that get out of prison, they're gonna have people that have their money bet against you. Saying don't give in to any of that. Don't get discouraged, in because that's where the devil, man, comes in. And you just got to be better than all of that, because that's what happened to me. 6 times in prison, 14 years in adult prison altogether. I can't count the county time. uh, you know what? And so if I had the community judging me like that, what I did is I got involved in the community and I showed them. And so, yeah, getting involved in the community, and if people are judging you, and show them. I usually make it, man, that they're gonna have to see me.
Okay, well, man, that's an incredible journey. Um, Thank you, Charles, for your courage in sharing your journey with us today. Your story, man, it touched me really, really, really deep. There's a lot of things that I can relate to in your story. So I can only imagine other people that can relate to the story too. But that not only sheds light on the realities of addiction and recovery, but it also serves as a beacon of hope for anyone struggling with similar changes. To our listeners, remember, recovery truly is possible. And you're not alone in this journey. You're definitely not alone. You may feel alone, but you're not alone. We appreciate you tuning into this episode of The Unhinged. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review if you enjoyed this conversation, and join us next time for more inspiring stories and insights. Until then, like I always say, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Nobody's going to do that. We have to do that for everybody. So, peace, light, and love to everybody. Thank you so much again, Charles, for coming on and sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it. And I know many of the listeners are going to appreciate it as well. So, until the next conversation, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, thank you for having me.
Beyond hinge where nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Beyond hinge where nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Mary, blah, blah.
Show.
Mary, blah, blah.
Show.
Beyond hinge where nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Beyond hinge where nothing is hidden. We talking so get in.
Listen.
Mary, blah, blah.
Show.
Mary, blah, blah.
Show.
Welcome